Donald Trump currently holds the highest office in America, the most powerful and influential nation in the world. He is President of the United States. The immense importance and significance of the position is highlighted often, as whoever holds this office is referred to as the leader of the free world. The power and influence that is held by the person in this office almost can't be overstated. He can shape the nation's foreign policy with near impunity. He can impact the nation's domestic policy through executive action. He can veto almost any bill passed by Congress. So then, what does it mean when America's highest-ranking elected official shows time and time again that he is out of touch with reality? Actually, Donald Trump's rocky relationship with the truth began long before he ever announced that he was running for president. For several years during the presidency of Barack Obama, Trump repeatedly peddled the idea that Obama was not born in the United States, and therefore may not have been a legitimate president.
It's one of the greatest scams in the history of politics and in the history, period. You are not allowed to be a president if you're not born in this country. He may not have been born in this country. And if he wasn't born in this country, which is a real possibility, then he has pulled one of the great cons in the history of politics.
While running for president, Trump made a baseless claim that several thousand Arabs in New Jersey were celebrating on 9/11 while the World Trade Center towers were collapsing.
Hey, I watched when the World Trade Center came tumbling down. And I watched in Jersey City, New Jersey, where thousands and thousands of people were cheering as that building was coming down. Thousands of people were cheering. So something's going on. We got to find out what it is. I do want surveillance.
But when Trump became president, the American people may have figured, well, let's let these ones slide. That was then, this is now. Trump will take the office of the presidency seriously enough to be diligent with fact-checking, and will no longer peddle rumors or make false statements. This hope was very quickly shattered. On the morning of January 21st, 2017, the day after his inauguration, Trump ordered his press secretary, Sean Spicer, to go before the media and publicly make the following claims.
All of this space was full when the president took the oath of office. We know that 420,000 people used the D.C. Metro public transit yesterday, which actually compares to 317,000 that used it for President Obama's last inaugural. This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period, both in person and around the globe.
The main claim, that this was the largest audience for an inauguration ever, was a claim that could not be substantiated. The limited amount of data that does exist on the matter seems to refute it, not support it. The other claims regarding the in-person audience and the metro system usage were looked into and were found to be flat-out false. However, this was not the only time in the early days of his presidency where Trump would publicly peddle false rumors. In a tweet, Trump declared that he would have won the popular vote in the presidential election, quote, if you deduct the millions of illegal votes that were cast. He even went as far as to form a committee to investigate potential voter fraud in the 2016 election. That committee would be dissolved a few months later, having found no evidence of significant voter fraud. Not only does the idea of millions of illegal votes being cast have no evidence whatsoever to support it, but the claim actually makes less and less sense the more a person thinks it through. After all, voter fraud is a crime, and any person caught registering to vote illegally, using the guise of someone else to vote illegally, or assisting anyone to vote illegally, is subject to serious penalties. Were millions of undocumented immigrants actually willing to take the risk of being arrested, fined, jailed, and deported just to cast a vote in the election? Furthermore, it would be logistically impossible for voter fraud of that scale to have taken place and gone undetected unless it was organized by a massive, coordinated effort involving thousands of people, all knowing what the consequences would be if they got caught, with no one slipping up or making a mistake. The odds of such an operation being successfully pulled off is virtually zero. Besides, does the outcome of the election make sense anyway? If the goal of getting millions of extra votes illegally cast was to prevent Donald Trump from winning the White House, why wouldn't they have been cast in swing states, where they actually would have had a real impact on the election? Why cast them in places like California and New York, where they had no impact on the outcome of the Electoral College? The answer is simple. It makes no sense at all. The reality is there were not millions of illegal votes cast, and Donald Trump has no interest in acknowledging reality for what it actually was. As his presidency progressed, Trump continued to transform the White House into a fact-free environment. Trump would go on to tell lies about all kinds of things, from the economy to tax policy to trade to the steel industry to healthcare to veterans care to Kavanaugh's innocence to Obama tapping his phones in Trump Tower. As time went on, not only did the lies and misleading statements coming from him increase in frequency, they also increased in severity, brazenness, and deceptiveness. One of the most unsettling examples of Trump's dishonesty came in the days leading up to the 2018 midterm elections, where Trump retweeted a video featuring an undocumented immigrant who was shown cursing repeatedly in a courtroom while bragging about killing police officers and saying that he wanted to kill more, then immediately showing large groups of people shoving and charging at large gates. The purposes of this video were obvious: to besmirch the Democratic Party, to smear asylum seekers as criminals, to stoke as much fear, hatred, and hysteria as possible regarding the issue of undocumented immigration, and to beguile the American public into thinking that they were under imminent danger from being attacked by a giant horde of terrorists on their way to the American border. This video has the potential to reach anyone on an emotional level due to how dramatic it is. However, the deception of this video resides not in the information it conveys, but in the information it deliberately omits. First of all, the man shown in the video is Luis Bracamontes, a man who was deported during the Clinton administration and again during the Bush administration, sneaked back into the U.S. in 2002 while Bush was in office, was not deported despite committing several misdemeanors during the Bush years, and continued to evade immigration officials during the Obama years. In 2011, he had a criminal case against him thrown out of court thanks to a local Republican official. If not for this, it is likely that this man would have been behind bars and would not have been able to go on a meth-fueled rampage in 2014, where he killed multiple police officers. Secondly, the footage of large groups of people and fences shown in the video are at the Guatemala-Mexico border, not the U.S.-Mexico border. The video also fails to mention that these people were desperate and eager to escape horrific persecution and unlivable conditions in their countries of origin. Thirdly, the video never made mention of the ample evidence which shows that undocumented immigrants commit crimes at a lower rate than the general U.S. population, not higher. Did Trump make any of these disclaimers when retweeting the video? Of course not. To make matters worse, Trump actually doubled down on the sentiment of the video, going as far as to claim that the migrant caravan was an invasion that might contain terrorists from the Middle East. Despite making these claims, Trump has provided no evidence that there were ever any Middle Easterners in the caravan, and has continued to insist that the caravan is an invasion of the U.S. However, in reality, the caravan actually consists mostly of impoverished, exhausted asylum seekers who have been watched and tracked for several weeks before ever reaching the U.S. border. To use a video of a cop killer to categorically stigmatize all asylum seekers, all refugees, and all undocumented immigrants is a horrifyingly dishonest thing to do. Needless to say, the cop killer in the video is not an accurate representation of the asylum seekers heading toward the U.S. Throughout his presidency, Trump has used similar smear tactics against his political opponents. He accuses every Democrat in the country of being part of an angry mob. In addition to that, Trump has always been very scornful toward any media outlet which places him under any scrutiny, going as far as to falsely accuse them of spreading fake news. Trump has shown time and time again that he is not interested in facts. He is merely interested in furthering his own interests at any cost, even if it means directly, brazenly, and without hesitation, deceiving the people of his own country. But believe it or not, even this was just the tip of the Trump dishonesty iceberg. According to the Washington Post, which keeps a detailed track of the president's statements, Trump has made, get this, 6,420 false or misleading claims in his first 649 days in office.